Not sure how we ended up in your feed, but here we are. Reselling isn't our main thing. Our primary income comes from our private label brand. We do resell on the side, but it's not where we want to put all of our energy because it just isn't consistent enough for us long term. We enjoy thrift stores and yard sales, and reselling is something we do alongside growing our private label business. Could we scale reselling to 6 figures? Absolutely. We have the space, the time, and the knowledge to do it. But the real question for us is, then what? If we ever wanted to exit a reselling business, we know we'd likely have to liquidate inventory for far less than we'd want. And every time we buy something to resell, we're essentially hoping it sells based on our criteria and past sales history. But it's never guaranteed. With private label, it's different. We have statistical data showing how many units each SKU sells per month. We have suppliers, systems, and infrastructure in place to scale. More importantly, our private label brand is an actual asset, something we can sell when the time is right. Reselling is just too up and down for us. Things that sell well can suddenly stop selling, and that inconsistency is exactly why we're so thankful we started our private label brand back in 2017.
Hey, what's going on, loungers? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mason T, and I'm a 20+ year importer and product developer. So shout outs to Liz from Freeway Flippers, because what you just heard in that excerpt is exactly what happens when the entrepreneurial mindset levels up and then you start understanding the big difference between a business and what a hustle is. See, we keep on going through this lesson over and over again because there's so many people who are being left behind in this particular concept. If you don't structurally know the difference, you will be left with false equivalence. You'll think you're running a business and you're actually not, because if you were really building a business, you would start getting business-like results. It's one thing to have business-like elements, it's one thing to be doing transactions, but it's another thing to truly understand what it is to be building a business. Otherwise, if you are misguided in your entrepreneurial mindset, it's going to lead you down the wrong path. And that's exactly what today's video is going to be all about. It is actually a double feature about a particular hoarder house. This video was sent to us by Deb Zenlife. Shout outs to Deb, my new friend. And the thing is this, right? What you're going to see looks exactly like an episode of TLC Hoarders, okay? I'm gonna show you guys the comments a little bit later. We're gonna start with this first, but I will tell you ahead of time, there is a lot of toxic positivity that's going on here, because when you are only of the entrepreneurial spirit, but not the proper entrepreneurial mindset, it's going to make you see value everywhere to the point of bad judgment. Here we go.
I am going to show you what Mrs. Papergoy has to live with. She is an absolute saint. She is actually back home in the Philippines for 2 months. She left yesterday. I didn't tell her I was planning on doing this, but I'm planning on cleaning things up. And I want to show you the before. This is the before video. So this is the living room as I step over stuff. And these are all
as I step over stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. You're going to see a lot of cognitive dissonance in this particular video, meaning that listen to the language that he is using, right? My wife, she's a saint for putting up with this. There's a lot of people in the comment area over here who's going to say things like, thanks for putting this out there. I got to show this to my wife. It's going to make me look good. So there's a lot of yucks and, you know, making light of stuff and kind of blowing it off when really this is the downfall. This is exactly what happens when you start to see value everywhere and then you start to hoard stuff because you don't want to pass up on anything. Everything is a deal. You got to really focus on the language that he's using. As you scroll through a lot of these comments, many of them see this as actually a mark of success. Actually, everything that you're about to see is incredibly problematic because of opportunity costs, because of subsidizing your own home with things in a hopeful manner. This is what happens when you use language loosely, false equivalence, and then you are not getting the results that you were hoping for. And you're still hopeful. That's why he's doing this. There are many comments that even say that he still has a full-time day job while turning his home into this.
deals. Like this deal came in yesterday. This deal came in today. I haven't opened it yet.
This deal,
Some of
that
these deals
deal.
have been sitting here for
Everything is a
weeks or
deal.
months, and I absolutely need to get this stuff put away. You saw those paintings in a video that I did, a haul video I did when I went down to the Poconos. So they've been sitting there and I haven't done anything with them. I have to find somewhere or other to put them. This is not the way that normal people live in their living room. I do.
You're all already oversourcing and you can't handle it. That's why I have it. I haven't done anything with it. This is a haul. That is a deal. You got to really focus on the language that's happening here.
You realize this. Couch is mighty uncomfortable if you were to sit here. Just letting you know, and I'm not going to try doing it. Kind of walk around over here. So that stuff all needs to be cleaned up. Now, one thing I did, if you look over there, you see banker boxes. I like banker boxes. They hold a fair amount of
Look at all these
stuff in them.
paintings.
The other thing as well is
Okay, so
their uniform. And that's
let's see
kind of
what's
key,
behind the wall.
just to kind of help me out. Now, if you come over here, this is all stuff that's come from collections as well.
The most important work area is this tiny desk with a single monitor.
And we'll just take a quick look out there. That all needs to be sorted out as well. So it's a fair amount of stuff that I need to move from here because my wife wants, Mrs. Papergoy wants the 3 Seasons room back at some point, probably within her lifetime. Now we're gonna go. We're gonna take a quick run upstairs and we're gonna look in the attic and I'm gonna show you a couple of things. Now, like for instance, this box over here.
Hopefully she'll get the 3 Seasons room back within this lifetime. And then just more stuff in the way, in the hallways.
It's EU3, which stands for eBay Upstairs 3. Oh, look, we got a marker. I'll be marking up that up right
So
after 2.
as we go upstairs,
eBay Upstairs 1 and 2, which are going to go in the attic. And these over here are on Biblio. And then those sporting news are listed as
more
well.
stuff
So
in the
those all have to
staircase.
find their way up into the magic attic. And I want to give a shout out to the happy handyman who.
Okay, let's go up the attic.
I have to get out of here because that's taking up room. But these are all Amazon things up over here, as well, all the way around, all organized. So I'm going to have to reorganize things a little bit and get some eBay stuff up here as well.
You know, I understand that people think that I make these videos trying to tear down people, but when really we have to judge things because that's how we make good decisions in life. Because if you don't, and then you see this as a mark of success, and then you follow this path, what are we doing here? See, the problem is that you think you're running a business, but with all of these goods, so to speak, there is a potency issue in dealing with one-off items because there's no success retention in your particular operation. Anything that would have sold quickly would have been sold quickly, and anything that's not selling is proving it to you right now by sitting right in front of you, not going anywhere. So every single deal that you make, every single haul that you bring home is you just trying to replenish that potency over and over again. And then when you sell something, you get that little bit of dopamine. You know, this is the problem, right? There's 3 possible outcomes. Either you're getting incredible amount of green signals that you should keep going, or you're getting very quick red signals that you need to immediately stop and do something else. And then there's finally the most dangerous one, the one that really drags people down. Slow green signals that just edge you along. They just drag you along down the path, right? And before you know it, years have blown by and you've never created any momentum.
When I moved in, a lot of the floor
This is not the
wasn't
way.
here. This part of the floor here was. This part over here wasn't. I contracted out and had floor put in all the way around. So now the attic is usable for
So
me
from
as
here,
well.
we're going to go on to the basement.
That's gonna be,
and
we're going to show you the attic in the next
I think this basement looks very familiar.
10 weeks. One thing, though, I'm going to be accomplishing this around a day job. That makes things a little bit more difficult. I'm going to be running the day job. I'm also going to be listing and running the eBay, Amazon business, the whatnot business, doing stuff for the YouTube, and so on, Facebook auctions. So we're trying to do all of this.
Listen, you're one person doing a whole bunch of jobs at the same time. Okay. So here's the thing. If you are working 2.5 jobs, like I do, 2 part-time, 3 part-time jobs, et cetera, something like that, right? That's just you doing more. This is not exactly having multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income, true multiple streams of income is things that you set up so that like you're getting income from here, here, and here. Kind of like things that you've already invested in, assets that you have that are growing, right? So if you have developed like 5 or 6 items, then you have 5 or 6 items that are all selling multi-quantities every single day without your presence. That's having multiple streams of income. And then having Roth IRAs and having S&P 500, and like all sorts of things that are all earning for you while you're not necessarily putting in more work. Now, if you are doing the eBay thing in the morning, then quickly I got to do my day job and then come back and then do a whatnot live show. And then on the weekends, I do favorite. This is just all one big thing. This is just one all big aspect of your life. This is not what people think it is. So this is what I mean, right? You get your mindset and the concept and everything gets twisted. You think you're doing something here, and it's not. It's not what you think it is.
Sorting around stuff that we have. So if we come on down, and hopefully my cameraman can step over stuff because we're going to walk over. So this stuff over here all needs to be cleaned up because we shouldn't have to be walking over piles of stuff. One of the problems that I have, and you need to watch out for this as well, some of these boxes, just because of the sheer weight, are starting to collapse a little bit.
There is a pallet in your basement here on top of the carpet.
So I'm going to need to replace the boxes.
You have a carpeted basement, which means this thing used to be like a furnished man cave, you know? Now it's this.
Here. Now what I can do
with junk Fantastic Four.
Like this box over here, I can replace it with
Look how raggedy that thing is.
And then I can actually reuse this box, put it up in the attic as the top box in a pile. Because it's still, for what I need, it'll work fine.
So you can see that he finds value in everything. Everything is valuable. Everything is treasure. Everything is treasure. This is craziness. We can't. This activity.
Up over here.
Look at the stains on this thing. How beat up this stuff is. It's not moving. I get what the idea is. I bought this stuff for pennies on the dollar. I only have to move a few, and then the rest is all gravy. But look at what's happening here. Look how much is being hoarded, right? This is not an increase of value. There's no value here. This is bloat. This is 100% all bloat.
So I'm going to have to find a place to put this stuff as well. But we're going to...
Even if some of this stuff sells, none of it is selling fast enough to keep up with overheads. That's the issue. And that's why you're subsidizing this with your life. Had you tried to really put this under, storage and units or a warehouse or whatever, your operation is 100% going to collapse under its own weight. This whole thing is going to fall apart. And then you end up having to bring everything home because you don't want to throw it away.
Walk over this way.
See, this is exactly what freeway flippers were saying, right? I knew that once I exit it, everything is just going to be pennies on the dollar by the time I want to get rid of it. That's why we got to do what we do with reselling as the sandbox, as to learn, as to build up our bankroll, and then quickly get into something that compounds. This doesn't compound. This is just you doing the replacement game of constantly trying to replenish what the potency of your items is. And then everything that's left over, that's what it is, just the leftover that most people throw away. When you look at a lot of people who buy like the wholesale stuff and they tell you 25% of it is instant trash, right? There you go.
eBay and things like that listing. I got to talk a little louder because we've got the dehumidifiers going. Definitely do use dehumidifiers if you don't.
So now to store all these things, we got to run dehumidifiers all day long. That's not money.
Already. That is all listed inventory. Now back over through here, this stuff over here is all listed.
This is a labyrinth.
However, most of the stuff on here is not. So I'm going to need to figure out a way or a place to put this stuff as well. Nice little pulps and things like that as well, not listed. So I have to list that kind of stuff. But if we head back over this way, I'm going to show you the next part that I want. Now this stuff over here is not listed. This is not listed.
If there's anything worse than a ton of items listed that's not selling, it's a ton of items that are not selling because they're not listed.
But look at this, is a fair amount of space wasted over
Just
here.
pure unknowns.
These are all falling down as well, but these are all household type things. When we moved into this house, we pretty much brought everything from the other house, and we just kind of piled it here. We've not used most of this stuff. Now this is packing material.
See, this is packing material. You see what I'm saying? Everything is valuable. Everything is treasure.
Over here, we've not used most of this stuff for years. So my goal is to take all of this stuff, and I'm going to show you around there in a few minutes.
Guys, this is cobwebs between this box of wrapping paper to his ceiling. This is how long it's been there.
But this stuff is all going to be moved into a spare room.
This is not, we'll get to it.
In the corner. And then I'm going to use all of this space over here for inventory purposes, because you can't even walk through over there. I've got envelopes and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff I have to move around. I want to give a big shout out to Random Packing Supplies, but there's drawers and everything in here. These are all filled with household goods and that kind of stuff. So I've got to take the household goods out of there, leave access to the front over here, and I can...
Look how much packing supply he has. That's, you know, because you're not shipping stuff, because you're not selling stuff.
All these packing supplies integrated over there. I just have to figure out how to do it. These are all empty boxes broken down. More packing supplies. We've got listed stuff back over there, but I've got another 2 rows of listed stuff that I can put over here if I got these envelopes out of the way. So I need to get these out. I'm wasting a lot of space here with these packing supplies. There's a better way that I can end up doing the stuff over here. You know, they've got a whole thing over here with packing supplies on it. Well, if I can figure out how to integrate all these packing supplies into there.
You know, the whole idea is to, like, I got all this stuff, so I don't even have to go out and source anymore. And now that you have all this stuff, you're still bringing home deals. It never ends. So your plan and how it works, you know, what you're actually end up doing is two completely different things, because that's the idea, right? Like, I got all this stuff here, so I don't even have to go out and source anymore. Okay. Are you selling them? No. What are you doing? I'm still sourcing.
And right over here,
to the point of cobwebs.
that'll free up.
My packing equipment area is immaculate because we're using it all the time and stuff is going out all the time. So it's never going to look like this, where it's kind of like, you know, in disarray and abandoned, because you're actually selling stuff. This is when you have too many things. Look, if you're packing up all these magazines for sale and they're going out in these poly mailers and stuff, what is this, you know, packing tape for?
An awful lot of space.
Hardly.
If we go back over this way, and again, this is the before video. If you show back over there, that is all stuff back over here, unlisted stuff all the way back around. There's a door.
Unlisted stuff. Honestly, this is all I have to hear. Okay, so I gotta show you another video here. Okay, and then this was their intro title. Okay, so it says the $1 Million Peddlers making you a millionaire $1 at a time. Where's this ideology coming from? There's a lot of strange ideology in the reseller space, because I've only been doing this channel for about 1.5 years. So there's still a lot of stuff that I'm missing, right? For example, if there's anybody who can help out in the comments, Who started the STR methods, the soul comp thing, where we're getting numbers past 100%? Who's doing all of this, like, you know, make your money when you buy thing? Who started that? Who did the ideology of, you know, resellers are helping out with the landfills? Like, who started this? This is all 100% nonsense, because the whole idea of what reselling is, the first rule is to get stuff that sells, right? Don't pick up the stuff that doesn't sell. That's going to be a waste of your time. That's a waste of your money. Don't do that. So there's no puppy rescue here. There's no recycling plant going on. You're still cherry picking out of the bunch and trying to curate the best opportunity. So why are we saying that we're trying to help with the landfills when all we're really doing is looking for the opportunity between stuff that people would have bought anyways? We're just finding the hideously underpriced stuff so that there's margins for us. All we really did as resellers is give it a markup, a pit stop, and a markup. So who's spreading this, you know, virtue signaling ideology to keep people in their place, right? Keep people spinning their wheels, making you a millionaire $1 at a time. How is this even possible? How slow is this? Your overhead is going to eat you alive $1 at a time. You need to build momentum. So you start making dollars, then you make tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars at a time. It's the only way you build up something. Otherwise, this is what happens. You're always doing the replacement game. And that's why it feels like $1 at a time. So this is the follow-up video. And you can see people saying here, great job. I didn't think you could get it all done. Okay, so I'm expecting to see a great job and him getting it all done.
And the house was a complete shambles, as you saw. If you haven't seen the video yet, definitely go back and hit the like button. I've got my cameraman, random neighborhood kid here. What grade would you give the job that I did? Well, Mrs. Paperboy was gone, random neighborhood kid.
10.
That would be failing. 10 out of 100. How about a letter grade?
A+.
Oh, well, I give myself a B. Let me show you the bad first, and this is going to be where Mrs. Paperboy has a connection.
Look at all the bags behind them. You already know.
Unfortunately, this all we got here. Most of this stuff.
Is this Life 1950 to 1951, meaning like Life magazine 1950 to 1951? Again, I get it. The idea is that, like, I bought this whole box of stuff and then I only had to sell, like, you know, one magazine or one or two magazines and the whole thing pays for itself. But what happens to the rest of the stuff here? Are you going to get rid of it? No, you're not going to get rid of it, because you see everything as value. You see everything as treasure. And that's how you become a hoarder.
The banker boxes came from the Three Seasons room. The other boxes are books that came from the big deal. Come on, we're going to kind of show you what
Let's
else.
move
so
on.
This stuff all needs to be listed. Now, as you remember, this room here was a complete disaster. I was able to get it down to a stack of Fifth Estate newspapers, countercultural newspapers that I need to list.
We still got stuff on the floor.
I bought from Benny from New to You Provisions. He sold me 4 boxes of stuff. I'm down to 1 last bin. I did kind of backslide a little bit.
This is still a room that nobody wants to hang out in.
Got these couple of things right over here, which are things that I bought at a big deal that we talked about on the live show. But this stuff is all going to be put on Whatnot. It just needs to be sorted out and put on Whatnot. So it's kind of in transit, we'll say. It's not going to sit there because I know exactly where it needs to go and what needs to be done. But come on, we're going to take a quick look at the Three Seasons room, and we're going to see how that.
Putting stuff on eBay, putting stuff on Whatnot doesn't mean that it's going to sell.
Or fortunately, every comic book.
We need to quickly, okay, transition from hustle into a business. Yes, a hustle can be a cash machine, but there's no succession. There's no success retention when running a hustle instead of a business. You have to quickly reform it, pivot it into an actual business where all the stuff that you attempted to sell, you could put it on repeat somehow. That way we are retaining the successful things that we found, and then we could double down on it. This is exactly why we did that last episode where nobody in reselling is actually applying the 80-20 rule, because you can't, there's no room for it. Because the 80-20 rule is all about doubling down on what works. But if you're selling one-off things, the things that you successfully sold, that's it. That effort is gone now, because the effort that you took in order to find something that finally somebody else will trade you money for is gone.
Book that I own for sale has all migrated here. Now, this was stuff from the basement hidden away, and it was stuff.
You can see anything in this box, $1, you know, so you went to a flea market and you just said how much for the whole box, try to talk down a little bit, and then this is a deal, right?
From the Three Seasons room, as well as stuff.
Let's go see this Three Seasons room, okay?
But we did at least.
Still packed. This armchair, look how torn it is in front of another couch. This is still unusable.
Show the couch now. The floor is a lot better. I've still got those books right there. I ran out of time to do those books. It was only.
No one would hang out in this room still.
Like 7 weeks or 8 weeks, something other like that.
So we just passed by a whole bunch of stuff in the hallway again.
Come on, don't just stand there, come on. We did add some more.
Let's go up.
And if you can see up here, we've gone down a little bit further with boxes. Those are all newly listed boxes. And a bunch of the stuff right over here is all newly listed boxes. And we kind of rearranged stuff a little bit around there, as you can see if you take a look at the prior video.
Okay. Here's why, all right? Some of you might say and be like, well, it was better than before. No, you don't understand, okay? He did this in order to make more room so that you could put more boxes. It never ends. The whole idea of organizing this is because of your limited space. But what you're trying to do is create more space within your limited space.
Still some room left up here, so there's still some more boxes. That are
this is barely a Band-Aid.
But overall,
what is your plan to make all of this work so that it dwindles? What is your plan for this to take off? There is no plan. This is just a curated collection to sit there, subsidize it with your own beautiful home, your space, in hopes of a few items selling every now and then. And then hopefully, we could get it to a certain amount in order to cover the. But the thing is that the successful things that sell have already sold and they don't regenerate. That is exactly what the word is. When you find an item that is a good product to market fit, and then you're able to do 10 sales out of that listing, and then the next day, the next day, the next day. So for the whole year, you keep getting 10 sales on average out of that one listing, and you keep replenishing it. It is regenerative. This is just constant, pruning and organizing. And what do I do with this? And then, thanking your spouse for being patient.
This is a lot better than it was as well. It's a little better organized.
This is what I mean, toxic positivity, right? This is much better than it was before. Well, this is an improvement, right? No, because structurally, this is not a business. And you didn't improve anything in the business. It's not even a business. That's why this is no good. So you could only keep accumulating, right? So organizing a little bit, teeny bit helps until it grows back, and then you need to prune again. And at the rate that you're collecting stuff, and at the rate that you're selling stuff, and the way that things are bloating, it will never meet. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be out of control. This is the problem with doing one-off items at volume. It is chaos. This is exactly why any professional reseller who's remained as a flipper has leveled up their ASP. This way, I don't have to try to sell so many magazines or whatever. All I need to do is sell like 3 or 4 items every day. They're luxury items, they're high-end sneakers, they're DSLR cameras. I'm flipping cars. I flipped 2 cars to get today. I'm set for the whole week. It goes up. That way, you'll only have to do a few sales in order to total the same amount, if not more, because you leveled up your knowledge. You've promoted yourself within this type of operation. There's no promotion here. If anything, imagine working a job where every single time you've worked down the paperwork, somebody comes over with another big stack and it's just even higher than last time. Like you've seen, comedic Office Space type of content that looks like that, right? Like the paperwork just keeps on coming. That's what's happening here.
I spent the entire day, and I had to take some Advil afterwards. I ended up moving stuff around down here. It's obviously still not perfect. We've still got stuff over here.
I think many of you at home who are watching this also need an Advil.
Placing the box and putting a new one in there. So
what's changed?
Is in better shape than it was.
What do you mean this is better shape than it was? What's changed?
Boxes here in the center, but it's a work.
The door is still blocked off. So when we come over here, the labyrinth is still in existence, right? This is what I mean. So I guarantee you what's happening here if this stuff starts to get organized. You're going to have space in order to hoard more stuff. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Priority here. Priority material and all that over here, and then down in here are boxes and that kind of thing that I just have to move these out to get to. I don't use boxes that often, but they're here in case I need them. Really didn't make any.
I don't use boxes that often because I don't make this type of sale that often, but it's here if I need them. This is, again, I keep repeating this, right? Everything is valuable. Everything is treasure to these people.
Here's all
everything.
Listed. So we're a little better off than we were here. But
if anything, what I'm seeing is analysis paralysis. This is a type of analysis paralysis where you cannot differentiate junk from actual inventory anymore. Everything is important. Everything is a packing material. Everything is useful some way.
Including back in there.
This is
the household.
This is
stuff,
not what a lean, efficient business would look like. This is not even a business.
Just kind of sitting there. Now is over here. So I have no need at all to get to this stuff. No reason to get to any of it. It's here. All of the unlisted inventory is here. So now I've got a place that I can work on getting things listed. Got a little bit of inventory, I would say. Wouldn't you think so, Random Neighborhood Kid?
Yeah. All right, guys, so that was a pretty tough video to review, but if you stuck it out with me for this long, let's get to some real final thoughts here, okay? Look, what is the one goal that we are all in common working towards? Security of your retirement. And there's only 2 paths forward in order to do this. Paths that actually compound. One is to build up your business better, and the other one is to get into investing. One or the other. You have to learn this stuff and you have to do it right. And you have to know what is the difference between actual investing, proper investing, or doing a proper business. We can't just be doing a hustle and then telling ourselves this is a business. This is not business-like results. Look, people in Sweden, what they do is that they just work a regular jobs, but pretty much the bulk of the country are all millionaires because they significantly find ways to live below their means, and then they put something like 30% of their paychecks all the way from in their late 20s into retirement, constantly into retirement funds in order to get there, in order to make it to the finish line. When you think about exactly what is the purpose of Social Security, it is the country saying that people in general on a collective scale cannot be trusted to save up for their own retirement. So we have to help you with this. But if you know anything about Social Security, is that it is not enough for most people to live off of. So what can you do? You need assets. So either you invest in assets or you're going to create assets, one or the other. There's no asset creation in this particular operation, guys. And you have to recognize that structurally in what your activity is every single day. This is why I'm very critical of reseller content, especially the ones that promote consistency. Consistency is key, but only if the activity compounds. Always remember that. Anyways, guys, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big like. And if you learned something, please consider subscribing. As always, see you guys in the next